Hey guys, so today we'll be comparing two of my favorite LEGO Harry Potter sets ever made, and that is the 2004 and 2020 night buses. As I've said before, the night bus is one of my favorite things from Harry Potter, so I'm so excited to compare these two sets side by side and see what's changed in 16 years. Our first night bus came out in 2004 to coincide with The Prisoner of Azkaban's theatrical release and is set 4755. It has 243 pieces and came with 2 minifigures. And on the other hand, we have our newest variant from 2019, set 75957. This set has 403 pieces and has 3 minifigures and is also going to retire at the end of 2020, so if you haven't picked it up yet, I highly suggest doing so before this runs out, as I have a feeling just like the other variants, this one's going to get quite pricey. So here are the two night buses side by side, and as you can see, a lot has changed in 15 years. Just by looking at the two, you can see that the 2019 version is a lot more accurate. It's also using a lot better building techniques and doesn't look so blocky. The 2004 one does come with some side accessories though, which the 2019 one does not. There is also quite a bit of a height difference between the two buses. But before we get into that, let's take a closer look and compare the minifigures. So here are our two Harry Potters, and you can see that the 2019 one's color palette is significantly more dark. In a way, it kind of reminds me of the films and the film titles and how they got progressively darker as Harry got older, which is kind of cool. You can also see that the wand has shrunk significantly. In 2004, they used a regular bar piece, and in this case, he's got a cone on the end, which is to represent the Lumos spell. The 2019 version, however, has the new wand pieces that were introduced in the CMF series in 2018. Our original Harry has some full-size tan legs, and the newer one has some of the mid-short legs in a dark tan. Our older Harry also features no back printing and no alternate face, unlike our new Harry. For the most part, they've got the same shirt design, it's just a lot more refined on our 2019 version. Out of the two Harry Potters, it should be no surprise, but the 2019 version is better in my opinion. Next up, we have our night bus driver, Stan Shunpike, and he has also had a pretty big glow up. Our new Stan Shunpike features a custom molded hat, which I think brings a lot to the character. Both have plain purple legs, and for the most part, the torso detail is also pretty similar. Both have got a tie and a silver ticketing machine, however, the newer one, of course, is a lot more refined. The original also doesn't have any back printing, just like Harry, and neither of them have an alternate face, and that's purely because you'd see it from the other side. One thing that the older figure has that the newer one doesn't is some hair detailing. Now, Stan Shunpike in the movie had some long scruffy hair, and that's one thing we haven't seen since 2004. However, the newer one definitely captures that scruffy look a lot better. And just like Harry, my favorite's the 2019 version. One figure that was notably absent from the 2004 version is our bus driver Ernie Prang. Now, he did feature in the 2011 remake, so this one is his second appearance. He's got bland dark tan legs, a pretty basic torso print, and a really lovely face print. I also love his hairpiece. I think it captures the character perfectly, and I'm glad to see him in the newer versions of this set. I have a feeling he probably wasn't in the Warner Brothers concept art that they gave LEGO in 2004, as back then LEGO probably didn't know what the actual night bus looked like. Something I really like about the 2004 version over the 2019 version is that we had a few side builds. Well, not really side build, but side pieces. For example, we had the Grim, we had a nice bush for the Grim to hide behind, we had Harry's trunk and Hedwig separately, and although Hedwig wasn't in this scene, it was a nice inclusion, and inside the trunk we have what looks like a sleeping bag, and we also got a grey street lamp. And although all these things are pretty basic, I really do like the inclusion of it, especially the street lamp. I think it brings a lot to the set. So let's take a look at the two buses, because let's be honest, you're not buying this set to have Stan Shunpike and a generic Harry Potter, are you? And while I believe both of these buses are great in their own ways and both are really great sets, at the end of the day, we're not here to hear that. We're here to hear which one's better. Appearance wise, you can definitely tell that these are both meant to represent the night bus. Although I definitely think the 2004 one benefits from that extra height, as the night bus is a very skinny and tall bus. While I think the look of the 2019 one is definitely a lot more movie accurate, I definitely think it could have done with being a bit taller than it is. If you look at them both side by side as well, from the side, you can see that the bus is a lot lower to the ground on the newer one, whereas the 2004 one, it's standing up a lot taller. They've also got different wheels. The wheels on the newer one are a lot smaller than the old one, and their version of a purple hubcap is a stud rather than a 2x2 round plate. There are also considerably more windows on the 2019 one. In this set, they introduced a 3x3 window piece, which I really do like the piece, although in this case, I think they did put too many of them in. I think if they took one window off from each row and made it similar to the top a bit more, I think that would benefit it a lot. The old one does not have quite as many windows and uses the old school window piece. One thing I don't really really like about it is the fact that these windows are off center. I kind of wish that they used 1x1 pieces on the side here and another 1x1 here, just so that it wasn't off center, because none of these windows line up, which is really frustrating to me. So we're going to take a look at one of my favorite areas of the bus, and that is the front. Now, my favorite thing about the 2004 one, hands down, is this printed windscreen. I love the look of the shrunken head. I think it is incredibly accurate, and the fact that it is off to the side and doesn't block any of the driver's view is a really big thing for me, because that is one thing that I don't really like about the 2019 one that much. As much as I do love that shrunken head piece, the fact that it blocks the entirety of Ernie's view is really annoying to me. Another thing I like a lot better on the 2004 one is the night bus sign. Although I definitely don't like the fact that they used to have to put the trademark sign on it. I think that ruins it, and especially because it's not on center. That kind of bugs me, but I also think the 2019 one, the sign just looks too small for me. And I think if they just printed this piece, that way they could have the text a lot bigger, that would have benefited this one a lot more. In terms of the grille design and the whole front of the bus, I definitely like the newer one though. This stickered piece looks really nice, and I also like this black smoothed off area. I thought I was missing a tile piece when I was building this set because of how open and exposed it was. Compared to the rest of the rounded off bus, like here for example, it just didn't feel right to me. Another notable difference is that there is no pole or standing area for Stan Shunpike to be on this set. There's only a door and a gap at the back, which personally I would have rather this entire thing just be closed up rather than having this tiny door here. So I definitely like how there is that area for him to stand, although his hat does make him too tall to actually get underneath the entire thing. Now on the old one, accessing the bus means you have to pop the entire roof off. I've always had this 2x2 plate get stuck to the roof for some reason, which is kind of annoying, but you know what, I can deal with that. And while it is easy to put figures inside, you can take this bed out and just place one on there, and you can get the driver in pretty easy. It's kind of annoying compared to the newer one. The bed is also a lot simpler, only being a plate and a slope piece. In the newer one, we can just open this entire side panel up, and that is how we access the interior. And it also looks a lot busier inside, but we're just going to take a look at the first floor for now. And in the 2019 version, we have a lot nicer of a bed. The whole thing is built up this time, which means you have a sheet that you can move up and down to put a character in, and it also slides a lot better using these flat tile pieces on rails that are on the side rather than underneath. It is a lot harder to get Ernie inside the bus though with this swivel chair. So moving up to the second level of the bus, and you can see that there is just another bed here. There's no tiles this time, it just sits around and slides. There's nothing else to it. It's pretty much the same as the bottom one. On the newer version, however, we do have a swinging chandelier as well as a Daily Profit sticker at the back. We also have a red chair on the side for a minifigure to sit down, and that is it for the second level. Now moving up to the third level, and don't mind me, I realized I had the roof on wrong earlier, so I fixed that now. And the third level is pretty much the same as the second. This bus really doesn't change all that much, and like I said, I think that's due to the fact that they would have had to build this off concept art rather than seeing the final product. But either way, in the newer version, it looks a lot nicer. Just like the old one, the roof kind of pops off. It's not as open as the older version in this case. It's a lot skinnier of a space, but there is a lot more inside. This is where Harry's trunk remains, and inside this one, there is a chocolate bar and a letter with a little lamp on the top, and we also have a Daily Profit newspaper piece. The rest of the space is basically used to build up these curved features on the windows, and the roof just kind of pops back on. It's not connected via any studs, it's just some plates wedged in there, and that's about it. I definitely prefer the curved nature and the style of the top of the newer bus a lot better than this blocky kind of angular version on the old one. So overall, it should be no surprise, but I definitely think the 2019 one is the better model. After all, it is 15 years after the original has released, so the building techniques are definitely a lot better, and there was a lot more pieces available to make it more accurate. There are definitely some better things about the 2004 one, like that printed windscreen and the inclusion of like the lamppost and the bush and the grim, but overall the design is just a lot more squared off and blocky, and the interior just isn't as fleshed out as the newer one. Now there is one night bus notably missing from this comparison, and that is the 2011 one. At the current moment, I do not own that set. I do really want to get it in the future so I can compare the three of them, but I did really want to make this video today to compare the original to the most recent. If you do own that set, let me know. I would like to know your thoughts on it. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it was a good set? And also let me know, out of these two, which bus you prefer. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel down below, and until then, I'll see you later.